Welcome to Slow Home. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
This is day 227 of the Slow Home Project, and we need you to join us in our quest to evaluate the design quality of houses in 9 North American cities in 9 months. This week, we've been analyzing single-family houses in Chicago.
And today is the very last day of work on our Slow Home Project, so I'm having a hard time holding back the tears. I'm all emotional. Just kidding. I'm a little emotional. But also, we've got a special episode today because we're going to be reviewing all of the Design Challenge project submissions.
But before we get to those results, I want to tell you a little bit about what's going to be happening next on the site. First of all, on Monday, Labor Day, we've got a special treat for you. We've assembled a blooper reel of, it's PG-13, so you don't have to worry about that. We had to bleep out quite a bit of what Matthew says. But other than that, I think you'll enjoy watching all of that while Matthew and I take Labor Day off.
Yeah, and then after that, what we're going to do for the rest of the week is we're going to be announcing the Slow Home Award winners in all of the cities that we haven't announced yet. As well, we're going to be discussing the results of the Slow Home Project.
And the week after that, we're going to start the next exciting phase of Slow Home programming. And we're going to talk more about that next week.
Yeah, and you'll also notice that we have posted a questionnaire on the site today, and we would actually like to have some feedback from you guys, our loyal followers, about what you think about Slow Home and about the programming, what you like, what you don't like, what you like about John and I.
Particularly about what you like about me.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have some time, we would really appreciate you taking the time to fill out the questionnaire. It would help us a lot.
Exactly. What we'd like to do is to be able to focus our programming a little bit more on what you find interesting and what sorts of things would better meet your needs. And so everyone who participates will have their email address added into a draw for David Suzuki's Green Guide. And we will send it to wherever in the world it needs to be sent. And it's a great book. I've read it a couple of times.
So now we're going on to the Design Challenge. So we had 28 submissions, and that was excellent. We're very happy with that number because, of course, it's right at the end of the summer and back to school, and we know everybody's really busy right now. So we're very happy about everybody taking the time to submit a plan. And it was particularly noteworthy because we had a lot of people that posted for the very, very first time.
It's very cool.
So I'm really happy about that. So we've shortlisted 8 projects. We're going to talk about them now. We're also going to post all the projects onto the site. You can see them below. See what everybody did. So
at the very end, we're going to tell you the person that won. So. Yeah. I don't think we need to look at the existing, except unless you haven't been watching and following along for the Design Challenge. This was the existing house that everybody had to work with. This was what Matthew gave them as the beginning, just that one little stair there. So there were basically 2 types of schemes. There was schemes that had the kitchen in the middle, and then there were the schemes that put the kitchen over at the end. And I think there are 3 of them that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about the kitchen in the middle because this is interesting. So this is a new person, Jim Graham, and hasn't submitted a plan before. What's really interesting about having the kitchen in the middle is this gets over some of the issues in the house with having the long living dining space, because now we clearly have a living area and we clearly have a dining area, and they're separated, in this case by the kitchen. So he's created circulation along here and then a window on that side. I also really like the way that the back entry was handled with the powder room off to the side, some coat storage, and the laundry in the back, and then you enter into the kitchen that way.
Right. I also like the fact that the study is over on the far side of the stair. It seems to me that that's something that a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Was to take advantage of that space and the window.
Well, it makes sense in plan because it's actually, I feel in this location, because remember before it was down here, and the problem with that, it always felt like it was in the back entry. Yeah. And now this puts it in a more prominent space in the house, so you could have someone come from the front door and go into the study, plus it's got a good view to the front.
Exactly. So now I want to erase this because we've just drawn all over this.
I know.
Just notice that this is actually a hand-drawn scheme. And
we have 2 of them. 2 hand-drawn schemes.
Yeah, which is really cool. And it just goes to show that you don't have to learn how to use the computer in order to be able to work on these projects.
Exactly.
So the second one.
This is from Jim Barris. So a long-time submitter of plans to our project. So he also had a kitchen in the middle. His was aligned actually closer up to the entry and the stair. Yeah. Interesting thing about this one is that the dining space became a more formal space. Yeah. With then the study, it had a dual access.
Right, which is quite nice.
It is actually really nice because this area becomes quite private from the rest of the house, so you can imagine how you would live in that. I also like the location of the informal dining space and its relationship to the kitchen. And then the living space is actually a really good proportion. It's a really good size. He has has a great back entry. I also kind of like the way that you come in and then you have the option of going into the mudroom or the option of going towards the front door with the powder room location there.
Well, and we're going to see that in some other examples. And what I like about it too is that it means that if you're coming in the front door, you can also get into the back area stuff, right? You don't.
No, it's fluid.
There isn't that separation.
Yeah.
It always happens. Like, where's my coat? Oh, it's always happens to be at the other entry. So I think that's quite nice as well.
This is from Tara. So Tara's plan I thought was really, really clear. She again had the study in that location that we talked about earlier. She had the dining in the same space as the last plan, which was good. She had a kitchen in the middle. She had an island which was oriented that way so you could sit on the stool and actually look towards the view, which is really, really nice. Some storage which actually protects the view, the sight line from the entry, so you're not walking right into the kitchen. And then of course a really good sized living space.
So it's basically the same strategy as Jim's. It just happens to not have that informal eating area.
Correct.
The kitchen gets a little bit bigger and shifts around.
Using the eating bar as her informal
very,
area.
very nice.
Yeah. So this is Terry. So now we're moving into the next group of people, which have the kitchen at the bottom of the plan.
Yeah. And Terry actually submitted 3 different versions of the scheme.
This is the one that we thought was the best from Terry.
Yeah.
So it's very good. Her kitchen is a great proportion. As you can see, the island here, you can circulate all the way around it. Lots of counter space, good connection to the other spaces. She decided to have one dining space, which in this house I think makes a lot of sense. She had a really interesting idea. By putting the two-sided fireplace, you have a casual sort of sitting area and then a more secluded sitting area, but they're really not separated into 2 different spaces. Her den, of course, is in the same space that we thought would be the best in the house, and then her mudroom actually transitions into the laundry, which is really nice, and the laundry is also accessible from the kitchen very easily.
Very nice. Yeah, and let me just erase that. I have to say that I like the strategy of having the kitchen down here, because I think what it does is it puts the dining or the living area up here closer to the front entry, so that you don't have to transit through the house to come down to a living area at that
and I want to say the kitchen is sort of what you describe a lot in kitchens, is that the idea of it being backed into the corner. I think that provides a lot of storage, and also it makes logical sense of where everything would fit, and the proportion of that space is really, really good.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to Rick B. Okay, this is our second hand sketch.
And new contributor too.
Yeah, a very interesting idea as well. So the kitchen is down in the corner again. He did a U-shaped kitchen. The thing that I thought was interesting is it stretches all the way along the side yard and becomes storage plus a work desk, a telephone desk, plus then there's a connection to the back entry plus into the garage, which is kind of interesting because if you're coming from the garage with groceries, you can kind of sneak into that and not transit or walk through the main part of the house. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing that I might say is that you might want to look at the width of the dining room. I think it's in exactly the right place, but I think it's a very nice scheme.
Yeah, so let's have a look at Murray's plan. So Murray had his kitchen down where Terry had hers as well, and that works really well. I think the thing that was interesting about what Murray was trying to do is he was trying to free up the entry and the back entry to try to make sure that they weren't 2 separate boxy spaces. The only thing that I would say is there's probably a bit too much floor space right there, and there probably would be a way of consolidating those closets a little bit, maybe shifting this wall back a little bit so there's a little bit more room in the front part of the house, and then that way there wouldn't be so much floor space in the back entry area.
Yeah, but I mean, another great plan.
Yeah, excellent. So this is Nicole's. Nicole, I thought really...
We're coming down to the wire.
We're coming down to the wire. So yeah, number 7. So the winner's coming up. So I thought Nicole nailed it for the back entry and the laundry and the pantry space. I mean, this block here is really, really well done. I mean, let's have a look at that. You come in, we've got consolidated closets for both the front and the back. Yeah. The powder room is tucked in there, which is a great location. There's a bench. You slip into the laundry, plenty of room, plus you can slip through to the kitchen.
And the idea of adding that pantry adds that separation, so there's a certain formality, but there's still
brilliant.
Circulation.
The only thing I would say is this to me feels tight.
Yeah.
This to me feels too big.
Yeah.
And I think there's a proportional thing that she could have done to make this just a little bit more roomy and maybe make the table a little bit more grounded.
Yes. So now we've got the last scheme, and we will tell you who it is at the end.
Yep. So this is our winning scheme, and there's a few things about it why we chose it. One is we think that the entry space is really, really well done with the consolidated closet. We love the location of the powder room. It's private but accessible.
Yeah.
We love how the kitchen is an L in that corner with the addition of an informal eating space, because what that does is that also this block here makes the dining room proportion more appropriate for the size of the table. I like how that the living space extends down a little bit to get a really good proportional end. Plus there's also the laundry. The only thing I would say is I think that the washer and dryer machine should have been on this side so that when you come in, you don't open right into them.
Exactly. So the author of this scheme and the winner of the last design challenge of the Slow Home Project 2010 is Tiffany. So
Congratulations, Tiffany. Good work. Excellent work.
We have your email address from your submission of the design project, and so we'll be getting in contact with you about sending out a copy of the book prize. So.
And make sure to watch on Monday because of the blooper reel. So you're going to see the humorous side. Well, not that it's not always humorous, but the more humorous side, the behind-the-scenes look at John and I as we're filming our daily stuff.
Yeah, Matthew's hilarious. I'm only kind of partly hilarious.
John's more annoyed at me than anything. So
yeah, so we'll see that. I just want to close by thanking everybody who's contributed to the Slow Home Project over the last 9 months. It's been a long haul. About the same time it takes to build a baby, we've been able to build a survey. So I think that's pretty cool. And we're going to see the fruits of all of that labor, metaphorically speaking, next week when we look at our Slow Home results and the Slow Home Award winners. So have a good long weekend.
Yeah, and tune in next week. See you next week.
Bye.